Hey guys, welcome back to my channel where I share with you my debt-free journey along with some tips and tricks around minimalism and saving money. If you are new here and you want to learn how to achieve your financial goals and get out of debt as fast as possible, then go ahead and click the subscribe button down below and also hit that little bell notification button so you don't miss anything. In today's video, if you haven't already figured it out from the title, I am going to share with you guys how we paid off $18,000 worth of debt over the last 5 months. Now, I want to preface this video by saying that if we can pay off this amount in this short amount of time, you can too, no matter who you are. Because we are not special people, we're not smarter than the average person. I am not a finance person by any means. And it's not like we figured out some secret formula to make this a reality in our life. Paying off debt can be easy and simple and very straightforward. So I'm going to share with you guys exactly how we paid off around $18,000 worth of debt over the last 5 months. Okay, so when we officially started our Total Money Makeover process back in May of this year, it kind of got kickstarted by me reading Dave Ramsey's book, The Total Money Makeover. So once I read that book, I was like, all right, I need to cut the shit, we need to cut the shit. And I finally jumped on board with my husband, who has always been like pushing me to take better care of my finances and to pay more attention to it. So back in the day, I had way more debt than I do now. I wish I started my Total Money Makeover back then so you guys could have seen how much I had already paid off, but I didn't really sit down and say like, okay, this is a thing that I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pay all this off until this year. So again, when I finally got to that point, me and my husband combined, we had $33,000 worth of debt total. And that's definitely not including our house. That has nothing to do with our mortgage. That is like a whole other beast that we have to tackle after we pay off all of this debt. So this $33,000 worth of debt was comprised of car payments, my last student loan, which is like the most annoying thing in the world, and a credit card that we have been trying to pay off for a long time. So when we first sat down and added everything up and realized that we had around $33,000 worth of debt left, it sucked, but it was also kind of exhilarating at the same time. Because usually when you don't want to look at your numbers and you're afraid to look at your numbers, it's because you don't want to see how big it is and you don't want to see how scary that amount of debt is. And hopefully your guess is that it's way higher than it actually is. So when we finally sat down and looked at it, we were kind of like, all right, like 33 grand sucks, but it could be worse. And even if it was bigger than that, even if it was like in the hundreds or 200s, we were still just so in that mindset to get it paid off so we can finally live a life of financial freedom where we're not tied to these monthly bills and the interest rates and all of that bullshit. So how did we pay off $18,000 worth of debt in 5 months? Well, the biggest thing that we did first is we created a debt snowball. And I have a video showing exactly how to do that. I'll link that up here. But when you create a debt snowball and you write down all of your debts on paper and you do the whole formula, which shows you how fast you can actually pay your debt off, that was like a holy shit moment for me. I was like, oh my God, if we pay off my car, for example. So one thing we did was we paid off my car. We then took my monthly payment for my car and we tacked it onto my husband's payment. So his truck payment went from around like $300 something to $550 a month because we took what I was putting towards my car and added it onto his. So my husband's truck is now going to be paid off way faster than we ever thought it would be. And then once his truck is paid off, we are then going to take that $550 a month and tack that onto my student loan, and so on. That's how a debt snowball works. It's once your first debt is paid off, you take that payment and tack it onto the second debt. Once that's paid off, you take that, tack it onto the third, and so on. So seeing that and experiencing that for sure just like really, really pushed us to go full speed ahead and get rid of this debt as fast as possible. But the next few things that I'm going to talk about are really the key things that honestly helped us to pay off so much debt. And Number one, and it sounds like the simplest and stupidest thing in the world, but number one is we stopped spending money. And I've said this before in some of my other videos, but I can't emphasize that enough. Like, we literally just stopped spending money. Yes, we spend money on the things we still need. For example, like, I have to grocery shop every week. We have to pay our bills all the time. Our son needs stuff like diapers and shoes and everything a 2-year-old needs. So we are spending money on the stuff that we absolutely need. And now this is where our minimalist behavior has come in and has helped a tremendous amount. So I actually made a video recently and it's called 50 Things I Don't Buy. And I'm gonna link that above here so you guys can check that out. But in that video, I share all the stuff that we don't buy anymore. And because of the stuff that we stopped buying, we were able to then save a lot more money and then take the money that we were saving and put it toward our debt. So number one is to just stop spending money. And now we are living a much simpler lifestyle that might not sound extravagant and fun to some people, but to me, the vision that I have of our future and the vision that we have is what is extravagant and fun. And now, just as an example of things we stopped buying, like, we basically stopped going out to eat as much as we used to. I completely stopped buying clothing for myself. I do not go to the store anymore and buy like random shit just because I'm bored. And now that was a big thing. I had my son, and last year he was a baby and it was winter and you're bored and you're like, what the hell are we gonna do today? So I'd be like, let's go to Marshall's, and I would just buy random stuff that we didn't need. And when we finally looked at our bank statements and added up all of our spending, that was a lot of money. So that adds up really fast. Even if you feel like you're only spending a little amount here, a little amount there, that adds up so freaking fast. So that was number one. That was the biggest help when it came to paying off this debt as fast as we have. And now the second thing that really helped us is that we completely stopped using our credit card. So when I read Dave Ramsey's book and I closed it, I was like, we are done with the credit card. We are 100% done. We are no longer buying things that we truly can't afford. And I don't give a shit about the points that you get from your credit card company and all that they lead you to believe is great when you have your credit card. That's all a scam. And if you think you're getting anything in return, you're being lied to. When you have your credit card, if you are not super vigilant when it comes to your finances and your spending, so if you are like the average person who owns a credit card, you're buying stuff that you don't really need, and you're buying stuff that you can't afford. And sometimes you're doing it just because you want to rack up the points to try and get a free flight somewhere or whatever. But in order to get those points, there you were spending money you didn't have, and then there you are putting money towards the principal and the interest and all that stuff that just is not worth it whatsoever. So we said, that's it with the credit card. We put it in an envelope and we hid it somewhere. Like, I don't even know where it is at this point. But we have not used our credit card since May of this year. And now the last big thing that helped us pay off this debt as fast as we did was the fact that we held family meetings every month. So every time our bank statement was released online, we would print it out and then sit down and look at every time we spent money. And I have a lot of videos about how to do that and what my categories are when it comes to budgeting. But I go through every bank statement and I budget everything and I put it all under different categories. And because we do that, we are able to then see where we are still fucking up, basically. So I can look at the grocery category and I can say, I'm still spending a lot of money when I'm grocery shopping. I need to work on that. Or I can add up all the times that I went to Target to buy stuff we needed and see if I did slip up and if I did spend more money than I should have. Looking at your bank statement keeps you accountable, and it is 100% necessary if you want to start this process and succeed when it comes to paying off your debt. If you don't know where your money is going, you're never gonna pay off your debt. You have to be able to look it in the face and say, okay, I understand this. I get where I messed up. And now I see where I need to make changes. So when it comes to paying off debt and trying to pay your debt off as fast as possible, income is super important. If you are not making enough money to even pay your bills each month and to add more money on top of your debt, then you have an income problem. And this is where you need to get a better job, or ask for a raise, or get a second job, or start working on some secondary skills that you can use for a side hustle. Because it's like a simple little formula. The more money you make, the more money you can save, and the faster you can pay off your debt. But this is also where you need to be very careful when it comes to making more money, because a lot of people associate more money with more stuff. Just because you're making more money doesn't mean your lifestyle needs to become more extravagant. It doesn't mean that you can then go out and buy all this stuff that is actually kind of pointless. When you start to make more money, the most important thing you can do is take that extra income and tack it onto the first debt that you're paying off. When you start to pay off your debt, it's actually gonna suck at first. If you start to make more money, you're gonna say, I don't wanna take this money and pay off my debt. I don't get any satisfaction from that. It sucks. I don't see immediate satisfaction. I promise you that if you start to do this, and when you start to do this, you are going to get more satisfaction and more happiness from doing that than if you were to take your money and go spend it on something that is materialistic. You're gonna experience short-term happiness from going out and purchasing something like a brand new pair of shoes, or maybe you're working on your house and getting a brand new kitchen. That is temporary. And if you keep doing that and ignoring your debt is gonna chase you for the rest of your life. So to recap, some of the top things that really helped us pay off our debt this fast: 1, to literally just stop spending money; 2, to stop using your credit cards; and 3, to sit down and have regular family meetings. If you are not married or whatever, you sit down and have a meeting with yourself. You look at your finances, you look at your numbers, and you look at your spending in order to figure out where you're messing up and how you can improve. And now, one last thing that I want to leave you guys with is what saving money and paying off debt has also done for me and for us. And I was very surprised that this happened. You know, I thought we were gonna pay off our debt and be like, that's awesome. You know, we see the numbers start to go down and feel good about that. But I did not expect to feel better just like as a person, like mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. It has improved our life in an insurmountable way. And it's almost hard to explain, but when you start to pay shit off and you start to get a small taste of that freedom, you all of a sudden start to take care of everything else in your life. So if your nutrition is lacking, or your health and fitness is lacking, or you've been ignoring something else in your life, when you start to tackle your finances and your money, you finally find the energy and the motivation to tackle anything else in your life that needs your attention. When you start to take better control of your life, you become a badass in all sense of the word. And nobody can knock you down. Nobody can tell you otherwise. You grab life by the horns and you're like, this is my life. This is my truth. And this is how I want to live. And maybe today isn't the day for you to start. Maybe you've been thinking about budgeting, but you're scared or you're nervous. Maybe today isn't that day, but tomorrow better be. Next week better be, because the more you ignore your financial situation and your numbers and your bank statements, and the more you mindlessly spend your money, you are just gonna be so far from the life that you envision and imagine for yourself. That life is out there. You have all the power and the freedom in the world to make that a reality, whatever it is, but you can't live the life that you truly imagine and experience the freedom that you want with the ones you love if you don't have money and if you have a ton of debt. So I wanted to make this video today to give you guys kind of a recap of what the past few months have been like for us, and also to show you that we are just literally like average, normal people who decided to make a change. And I want to inspire you guys to do the same, because this feeling and this experience overall has been absolutely life-changing. Not only for me, but also for people in my life who know what we're doing. And again, if I can impact anyone's life, even in the smallest way, that to me means more than anything. And I mentioned this in my last video, but one of the main reasons why we do this and why I am on this total money makeover is so when I get to the point where I have wealth and no more debt, I will be able to help and give freely, without regret, without remorse, because I'm gonna have the means to do that. I don't wanna have all this money and no debt so I can just go buy stuff. I want to have this lifestyle that I imagine so I can help everyone in my life and try and give everyone that I know and love the best life possible. So that's it, guys. That is how we have paid off around $18,000 worth of debt in the last 5 months. So if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, as it really helps me out with this whole YouTube algorithm. And subscribe to my channel, click that little bell notification so you don't miss anything. I make new videos every Wednesday, and before you guys go, leave me a quick comment down below letting me know your thoughts around budgeting and paying off debt, maybe some struggles you've been having around that. I would love to talk to you guys. I want to answer your questions and get a conversation going. So go ahead and leave me some comments, and I will see you guys next week. Thanks. Bye.